There was a period of time, we did the shows on it, where there was so much activity in the skies or Northeast Ohio, it was mind-boggling. There was contrails, there was fighter jets. I'm going to play some of the calls for you. There was different weird sightings in the sky. The military was on the move.
What I look for is expert witness testimony to the phenomena, but then you get people like Michael Lee Hill right here in Cleveland, and when I saw his footage, in fact, I just saw some footage last night where you see possibly 30 to 100 feet above the lake, you see this saucer with all these colored lights spinning around, hovering, making no noise at all. And I was just filming at the Edwards Air Force Base Air Show last weekend, and even the B-2 bomber, the F-117, some of the quieter planes, you can hear those things over the noise of the ripples on the lake. Well, because they're loud. This thing isn't making any noise. And then you see this other disc come hovering up to it, stops and hovers 30 feet above this thing, making no noise, and visits it for only a few seconds, and then takes off. I mean, there's nothing in the arsenal of our military aircraft that can do that unless you're looking at Harrier jets,
right,
which are one of the noisiest bastards you'll ever hear.
Now, Michael, you're from Eastlake.
Yes.
You have this film, right?
Yeah.
Get closer to the microphone, please.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been filming UFOs here for about 3 years. About 3 years ago, I seen a craft over the lake, and that sparked my interest. I just went down any nice night and brought my camcorder with me and started filming. So I've accumulated quite a library, and that's how I met David. I was a big fan of David's work. So I sent him some of my footage, and he ended up using 4 of my clips on the Dan Aykroyd.
Now, I am not questioning Michael at all, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm asking a question here as a talk show host. Mm-hmm. How do you know that the film isn't doctored? How do you, because with today's technology, you know what I'm trying to say, David, there? You have to be very careful?
You have to be very careful because with today's technology, people can doctor stuff. But with 20 years experience personally as a professional photographer, and also because I'm a filmmaker and an editor, I know what something looks like when it's fake. I mean, you could fake me. If you were going to spend, $100,000 and up on your special effects, but you think of a guy who's, a guitar player, a musician, who's got a little video camera, who doesn't even edit film. What would he do to fake this? What would he need to fake it? Well, where it gets really difficult is when you're hand-holding a shot and the background moves consistently in the shot with the object, the UFO. Now, if you put another layer in the editing bay on top of that and you put in a UFO, to match the movement of those two frames, the frame of the UFO moving with the background consistently so they're never out of phase, that's the first thing I would look for. If they were out of phase, I would say, okay, that's another layer. That's another layer in the editing bay. But they're totally in phase. When you see the corners of the shot move, the UFO moves consistently with that. And that means you have to have some very expensive equipment to fake something like that.
How long ago, Michael, did you take this? This is over Lake Erie in Eastlake, right?
Yes. It's going on to this day, actually. I've filmed stuff as recent as a month ago. And
tell us a little bit about it real quick, because we've got to go to traffic.
Did you just pick a random day to go down there?
No.
You live on the water?
Yeah, I live about 2 good rock throws from the lake. And so about 3 years ago, I seen a craft. And as I said, I just started going down to the lake and watching the sunset. And I'd just hang out afterwards. And if a big ball of light went by, I'd film it, And
well, give us one of the weirdest experiences you filmed down there in Eastlake.
Probably one of the weirdest ones was one of the clips that he used in the Dan Aykroyd film, and it was just a big glowing cloud-looking apparition.
Different colors.
This one was glowing almost like a blacklight color, like a bluish purple color, and had a strobing light that was on the left-hand side of it, and that was a strange one because it was almost like a telepathic communication. I just had this feeling. Something said, you need to go outside and bring your camera. And when I went out, it was there, and I filmed it.
It's very translucent looking, the shot he's talking about, so you can almost see right through it.
We only got a couple minutes before we go to news. I want to play this. When I was doing my show, when all this activity was going on in the sky about a year and a half ago, these are some of the people that called in. I'll play real quick for you here, okay? Eric, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
How's it going, Mike?
Good, Eric.
Hey, I'm living down here in Jackson Township, by the Akron-Canton Airport.
Yeah.
And I was seeing 11, 12 vapor trails. But I was driving, and I see this low-flying jet, doesn't look like any of the jets that we have now in the military. I'm just a recently retired Marine, so I kind of know a little bit about the air power that we have. And I just saw it heading due south, and then it banked right and made a course for the southeast.
Is this all unusual?
This is something I haven't seen.
And how long you been there? A while?
Yeah, I've lived here, almost a year now.
Yeah.
I see another vapor trail that's got a turn in it.
So would you agree with me something's going on?
I didn't see anything this morning because I was at work at this time.
Yeah.
But it's kind of...
Wait a minute. Hold on right here. Was this one here?
Yeah, that one right there.
WTAM 1100, you're in the air.
Mike, it's Craig, first-time caller.
Thank you, Craig.
Hey, I'm on 71 North, and I see something right now. I'm just passing Mansfield.
Yes?
And there's a small black spot, and it probably would be over... Oh, wait. You know what? Never mind. It's a bug on my windshield.
Oh, boy.
Everybody. See, I'm trying to be serious here
and I'm with
and
you on
save
that.
America.
I'm with you. That
And this guy wants to be Bob Hope on me.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
you knew that.
That's the-
You knew that was coming.
Wait. There's a guy at PA who saw it.
He saw it. Where at? Right here?
Line 5.
Paul, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Hey, Trev, it's Paulie from Solon. How you doing?
Good, Paulie.
Hey, I'm a salesman. I was in central Pennsylvania this morning, and I saw at least 15 of those vapor trails. And when I came in the range to hear you talking about this, it freaked me out.
I mean, anybody that was up this morning, and Paul, I appreciate the phone call. Thank you very much, because people think I'm fooling around here.
No,
Anybody that saw this, I can't even convince my own boss, my sports director here, Mike Snyder. He thinks I was on LSD this morning.
I didn't say
haven't
that.
done
Now, see,
LSD
there
in
you
4.
go.
Terry, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Good afternoon, Terry.
Hey, we were just up on the roof here in Solon at Bedford Gear,
Mhm.
and you can count at least 24 contrails. They're everywhere. And then another thing, we were out golfing out at Oak Knolls this morning, and usually you see like a little Cessna plane flying around. We've seen 12 of them take off and fly all around in groups of 3. I mean, that's crazy. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it, but there had to be something going on somewhere.
Yeah, and it's still going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thank you, Terry, for that report.
All right, man.
WTAM 1100, you're in the air.
I spent a lot of time sitting in my hot tub looking at the stars. I'm an aviation buff, and amateur astronomy is kind of cool. But one of the things I always like to see is when the space shuttle flies over, they'll tell you on the weather when you can see it, and usually you can see satellites too, right?
Yeah.
Well, I always look for them in the hot tub. Last night at about 9:30, one of them went north to south, and within 10 minutes of that one, I saw one go, I don't know, or southwest to northeast, and I never see them. I've been looking for over a year, and I saw 2 within 10 minutes of each other.
Well, what do you, Mike, I mean, and I don't want to challenge you here. You weren't drinking, were you?
No,
okay. All right.
Believe it or not, I wasn't that night. But
All right, no Miller High Lifes, right?
actually, High Life Light. I'm watching the carp.
All right. Let me ask you a question. What do you make out of that then? What
I don't know, Mike. But there was also about 10 times more normal air activity. And like I said, I'm a big aviation buff. Geez, I used to fly. I built probably 1,000-model airplanes. I'm really into this stuff, and it kind of creeped me out a little bit. I thought nothing of it. I heard all this stuff this morning.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, what the hell's going on? You know.
So you're with me here. You believe something's going on, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe there's a big. I'm thinking maybe it's like a large-scale military exercise, and the stuff people are calling about planes in formation, contrails that aren't relatively straight, like you said. The only planes that have the agility to hold that kind of tight formation, especially within close proximity to each other, are fighter jets, Mike.
Aha, Snyder. Aha, did you hear that phone call?
I heard that.
All right.
I'm listening
you know
to
what?
everything.
The defense is starting to rest here.
You're going to rest.
Jennifer, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Hey, Triv. I'm
Yeah.
a first-time caller, so be gentle, okay?
Thank you. I'm gentle with all my women.
What I saw was the very end of last week. My husband and I saw it for a couple of days happening. Now, I got to tell you, I'm a military brat, and I grew up on Army bases. And so it doesn't take a military genius to know when there's a mission going on. And we saw for 2 days Chinooks, those big helicopters with the propellers in the front and the back.
Yeah.
Like they're carrying vessels. And we saw those for 2 days. We saw them going past our house. Now, we're out here in western Medina County.
Jennifer, since you're a military brat, what do you make of it? Can you give us your opinion?
Well, they were obviously moving something. I mean, something that's large enough for a Chinook to carry. I mean, they just don't put those full of cotton balls.
So you think there's some type of military operation going on?
Without a doubt, when they're moving that much equipment, it's got to be equipment or something like that. When they're moving that much stuff, there's definitely something.
Mary, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
How are you today?
Yeah, good, Mary, good.
Nervous, I'm sure, huh?
Well, a little, more curious, Mary, than nervous. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, me too. That's why I'm sitting on 480 in a traffic jam listening to you staring in the skies when I realized what I saw today.
That is?
I saw, well, first of all, on my way 306 to 422, I saw a single Army truck on the road. And then on 422, heading west towards 271 in Solon, I saw 3 Army trucks. And I didn't even think of it until I started listening to you. And it's funny because I do remember saying to myself, my, where are Army trucks coming from? What? I have very rarely do you ever see that on any of 422, 480, 77, 271. And I drive them all the time.
I tell you, Mary, this is getting weirder by the minute. It really. Larry, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Hello, Mike.
Yes, Larry.
This is Larry. First time caller, listen to you all the time. Truck driver.
Thank you, Larry.
Listen to your show coming from Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
See all them streamers through the sky, just about all the way from Pittsburgh up here. And as I come up by Twinsburg, Solon area, I saw 2 or 3 of those jets laying down some streamers. And hearing those, I lived on around the Ravenna Arsenal, like that other fellow's talking about. They're back during World War II. There used to be some heavy-duty things in there. I don't know what's going on, but don't know if that's part of it, but there's all kind of streamers in that area.
And this is unusual, right, Larry?
I've seen them before, but not like.
Amin.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Amin.
How you doing, Mike?
Good, good.
I was coming back yesterday from MGM. I need your help with the times and the directions. I left there about 1:27. Right after you take the ticket, on a turnpike, coming back to Cleveland.
Right.
I was sitting in a passenger seat. I looked up in the sky, and I seen something shoot straight down. Like within seconds, it disappeared. Something like a shooting star.
Was this at night?
Yeah, that was at night. I left there at 1:30, right after you take the ticket on the turnpike.
Now, this was last night?
That was last night, yes.
And the vapor trails were in the sky this morning. There you go. Let's go to Lisa here. Lisa, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Yeah, can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, I can, Lisa.
Yeah. I was listening this morning, driving in at 7:30 to work, going south on Riverview Road, and saw the same thing that y'all have been talking about, plus the light. Well, I'm driving south again on Riverview Road. I don't think you can see it where you are in Cleveland, but south of Cleveland, there's the same markings in the sky, and there's that light again. And it's definitely a rainbow pattern.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I mean, there's been a lot of explanations about ice crystals and different things like that, but
I know the streaking that you saw. It's doing the same thing right here, and it's south. It looks like it's pretty clear where you are, but south of Cleveland, I'm seeing the same thing that I saw this morning that everybody was calling in about.
Well, I'll be driving home in about 20 minutes. I'm going to be looking in the sky. Yeah. Kevin, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Hey, Mike. I just want to tell you what I saw last night when I was driving home. It was about 10:35, in between 10:35 and 10:45. I was headed south on Route 8 around the Stowe area, which is just north of Akron. And I'm looking south in the sky, and I saw a bluish-green light come straight down, and I thought it was maybe a shooting star, but I've never seen a shooting star go straight down into the earth. And when I got home, I told my wife about it, told her I made a wish for her and everything, but I didn't think anything of it until I heard the show today.
Is that the same thing you think Amin saw?
Who?
The caller that called earlier, did you hear him?
I'm not sure. I've been at work.
He's driving home from Detroit
he was
last
on the turnpike
night.
about 1:30 a.m.
Where were you at?
I was in Stowe, which is north of Akron, and it was about 10:35, 10:45 at night. So it was earlier.
Now he's coming home on the turnpike
at 1:30 a.m. It must have been 2 different things.
So it was 2 different things.
And it didn't look like any shooting star I'd ever seen before.
Yeah.
It looked distinctly different. It didn't have the kind of trail you would expect a shooting star to have. So I thought it was interesting. I talked to my wife about it for a little bit because it stuck out in my mind that much, and then this morning, all the ruckus about it.
Well, I'm happy you called. Don, you're on the air in WTAM 1100. In the air.
Hi, Mike Megadagos.
I don't want to be in the air.
Megadagos.
First-time caller.
Well, wait a minute. Thank you.
I drive a big truck from Cleveland out to Youngstown every day, Monday through Friday.
All right.
And up until today, I usually carry a laptop with me with a GPS receiver. And up until today, it's worked flawlessly. No problems whatsoever.
Hey, Don, you better tell him what a GPS system is. I don't think he knows what that is.
A GPS system can pinpoint your location on mapping software on a laptop.
Oh, sort of like Lone Star.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
OnStar. It triangulates your position and shows you on the map. And up until about between 8 and 9 o'clock this morning, it was working fine. And then all of a sudden, it just lost all communications from all the satellites.
All right. Okay. All right. I mean, if you're listening, do you need any more? Thank you, Don. Lyle, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Hey, I just came across Ohio Turnpike heading east, and I saw something that got me kind of worried. There's a FEMA convoy heading east. There's about 10 big white, looks like recreation vehicles, all in a convoy. I passed them right around the 71 exit.
Where was this at now?
Ohio Turnpike, and I passed them right around the I-71 exit.
Okay.
But they were heading east on the turnpike.
All right. Okay. Lyle, I appreciate the phone call.
All right.
WTAM 1100, you're in the air.
Trev.
Yes.
Listen, I never thought about. I've been sitting in my truck for 20 minutes so I don't lose you because I live on the lake and I'm at Lost Nation Airport, just parked.
Okay.
All right. Monday at about 2:00 in the afternoon, I got a phone call on my cell phone from from a banker, and I can't smoke in my office, so I go outside to talk to her, and I'm on the phone and we're just BSing about things. All of a sudden, I work in Highland Heights, off of right behind Cuyahoga County Airport. So I'm used to planes flying all the time. All of a sudden, an F-18 comes flying right over my head. And I said to her, I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, what the heck is this? This was Monday at 2:00 in the afternoon, an F-18 flying east to west right over the airport. And I thought that was so weird because there's planes taking off Cuyahoga County Airport daily. Every 15, 20 minutes there's a plane taking off. And I'm thinking, what is this thing doing right here? And this was Monday at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, something's going on around here.
You're right.
Yeah,
there is.
There's
and
definitely.
And I never thought anything of it until all of a sudden I heard you talking about it. And I'm like, wow, maybe there is something, legitimate about this.
Bob, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Hey, you were talking about the trails up in the sky. It was this morning. It was between 6:15 a.m. and 6:30.
Right.
I was getting ready for work, so I took my dogs out before I left. And the sky I just happened to look up at the sky, and I said to myself, oh, my God. I said, what the heck happened out here last night? There was trails everywhere, Mike. There was literally 4, 5, 6 dozen different trails in the sky.
I know. I saw it, too.
It was, I said, now, there's got to be something. I said, these can't be airplane trails. It's got to be something else. But then you bring it up, and I'm going, man, I wasn't seeing things.
No, those were fighter plane vapor trails.
I've never seen so many. And just like you said, it was like a checkerboard, and they ran for miles, as far as I could see this morning, and they just blanketed the whole sky.
See, they thought that would be gone before the sun came up, but it wasn't, and we saw it as Americans. Now we need to be told the truth.
Exactly. I would be real curious to find out what happened last night.
I would pay a lot of money to find out. Sherry, you're in the air on WTAM 1100. Tell Snyder what you saw.
Well, I didn't see the colors, but I'll tell you, I walked out my front door about 5 to 8. Before I ever started my car and heard what Bill Wills was talking about, the sky, I noticed it immediately how many, our Bell calls them contrails, air vapors, whatever.
Right.
But they were everywhere, and I noticed it and thought to myself, something's going on. And then when I finally started my car and heard the guy talking about the colors, I tried to find those colors because the sun was so bright, I just couldn't, you couldn't look up into the sun. So I never really did see the colors, but I saw the contrails. I'm in Sandusky, which is halfway between Toledo and Cleveland. So obviously, if that guy's 20 miles from Toledo and you're in Cleveland, they were 120 miles.
Oh, Sherry, I got to move, but they were all over Northeast Ohio. Watch this, Knights. Keith, tell Snyder what you saw.
Hey. What'd you see, Keith?
I live in Ashtabula. Got the paper at 5:30 in the morning. Every star in the sky was out this morning, but to the west, it just seemed out. I thought it was maybe like a cloud streak, but now that you've talked about it, that's probably the same thing I saw, were the vapor streaks.
Tell them how many there were.
So I'm going to say probably what I saw from Ashtabula were probably at least a dozen or more in the northwest.
Walt, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, what you saw this morning are known as chemtrails. I saw them this morning when I went outside. I called my wife out. I told her, I says, look at this. It looks like gossamer or something in the sky. Contrails evaporate. These are chemtrails. The reason they're up there is because, have you ever heard of the HAARP project?
No.
It's a high-frequency active auroral research program, HAARP. What they do is they got this program in Alaska.
Walt.
No, seriously, Mike.
Walt. Walt. Hold on 1 second. You're a planned phone call from the government, aren't you?
No.
Yeah,
That's
you're trying to explain these fighter planes that were over our sky. Walt, admit it, Walt. I saw right through you, Walt. Walt, you're a plant. Walt, you're a plant from the government, Walt.
I want to hear what he says, Trev.
They were up there, Mike. What they do is they put these chemtrails up in the sky so that they can bounce these signals from HAARP over the horizon. Mike, they mix ammonium hydroxide and barium.
Walt, you're a plant for the government, aren't you?
No, Mike,
yes, you are, Walt.
Walt,
Walt, I can't take it. No, Walt, you're a plant for the government. I will not let that propaganda go over these areas. Kevin, you're in the air on WTAM 1100.
Okay, Trev, I live north of Detroit on Lake St. Clair in Michigan. Southridge Air Force Base is north of Detroit. I heard them scramble military jets last night. The last time I seen anything of this sort was September 12th when they had the AWACS planes over Chicago, and the wind would drift the perfect circles of these surveillance planes over my house. I could see it every morning. I'd see the circles, perfect circles, where they would, they surveillance Chicago, Illinois, with the AWACS planes.
All right, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
This is very important to me because people think I'm crazy here. I know something went on last night, okay? I'm not stupid. Again, reiterate, where are you, and tell us what you know.
If you look at a map, you will see that Michigan looks like a mitten. Everybody's a big joke to everybody. Right by the thumb area, under the thumb, there's a lake called Lake St. Clair. It's not one of the Great Lakes. It's a smaller lake. At the north end of that lake up there, where the river meets it, St. Clair River, there's an Air Force base called Southridge Air Force Base. It's a big refueling tankers. They fly a big bunch of refuelers, to refuel planes. Last night I heard them scramble about 4:30 in the morning. And when they take off, you can know when they take off, but when they scramble, they're gone. I mean, quick, and they're just like a rocket. And last night about 4:30 they did.
How many do you think went up?
I couldn't tell. I've seen them take off 3 abreast at times. So if they took off, if I heard 5, it could have been 15. I mean, I don't know. You hear it, it's like, whatever, you just kind of wait for the big one to hit you, I guess.
But, Kevin, the last time this happened was September 12th, the day after September 11th.
I hear them scramble quite often sometimes, but the last time I seen so many vapor trails was September 12th, 13th, and 14th when the AWACS planes were monitored in Chicago. Remember how they had all them planes and they were doing all the circling? Every morning I'd wake up and there'd be 15 or 20 perfect circles where they were just flying reconnaissance over Chicago, keeping an eye on Chicago for any kind of attacks.
Kevin, I could kiss you on the lips for helping me prove that.
It's 38 states and half of Canada, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.
Good luck to you.
I love you, buddy.
Okay, we love you too, man. Bye-bye.
You think I'm full of it, don't you? I told you something went on last night. I told you.